What is the Phoenix Police Academy like? These recruits can tell you. That's the headline. So let me give you the backdrop. Here are the headlines. This is what these police recruits are getting themselves into. Suspect in a stabbing incident, fatally shot by Phoenix police. Rollover crash following a DPS pursuit closed State Road 87 in Mesa near Gilbert. Armed store clerk who scared off a sledgehammer-wielding suspect says he's had enough of escalating crime. These are just some of the headlines. So this is what these men and women sign up for. They decide they want to serve their community. They go through an extensive background check. This is a part of policing that people don't understand. They have a lot of people that still want to do the job, but only a few of them even qualify for the position. They have to do a background check. They do a psychological evaluation, a physical fitness test, a credit check. They do all of these different things to make sure that they do as much as they can to keep bad people out of the profession, which we know doesn't always work. So they go through 27 weeks of training. 17 new officers were added to the Phoenix Police Department on November 30th, each of them receiving their badge of office and took an oath faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of a peace officer. Among the speakers, the mayor was there, Interim Police Chief Michael Sullivan. The Phoenix Police Department's been losing more officers than it's been adding, but that trend seems to be turning. When you look at what it takes to become a police officer and what it takes to want to become a police officer, we're going to talk a little bit in a little while about the U.S. Military being the smallest it's been in 80 years. We're going to get to that in the next segment. But specifically about being a law enforcement officer, the reason why people do it is for the respect, because of the respect they have for the job itself. It's more of a calling. I would say school teachers were the same way. It was about paying them enough money to make a living, but school teachers don't do it for the money. I mean, they certainly don't, because none of them are getting rich, just like police officers. But for them, it's more about the respect of the position. We are seeing so much being forced upon teachers and what they have to teach, what they must teach, what's going on, where they're saying, I have no freedom to do my job. Police officers the same way. You've got to train me, you've got to equip me, and then you've got to trust me to do the right job and get results. That's the other part of it. The city of Phoenix has been doing more with less in their police department for over a decade. They are dramatically understaffed. You can check me on the numbers. We are larger in size and larger in population than Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Our police department is about half the size of Philadelphia, about half. We are dramatically understaffed, and yet the Phoenix Police Department this year, I should say, this because it's not over yet, has had a 92% clearance rate for homicides. I mean, that's an incredible statistic. I believe that everybody needs to be held accountable. I'm not calling for no accountability, but what I am calling for is a respect for what these men and women sign up for and what they do. If we want men and women to say as young people, and it takes a special person, if you are someone that can pass that extensive background check, that psychological evaluation, the physical fitness test, if you can pass all of those things, the credit check and all of the digging they do, if you can pass all of that to become a police officer, you are a very attractive candidate in many other professions, and they would pay big money to have someone like you for them. So if we're going to ask these men and women to do this job, we're going to have to make sure we're providing a work environment for them that is fully staffed, that is paid well, that is fully equipped, and then we allow them to do their jobs. That doesn't mean we take away oversight. What that means is we don't go into a natural mode of suspicion over everything that they do. The assumption when something goes sideways is that the officers must have done something wrong is not the right way to look at it. I am someone that will give cops the benefit of the doubt. At first glance, I'm going to believe the police officer. That's my natural instinct. But I also understand that an investigation has to happen, and when a cop does the wrong thing, they either need to be retrained, or they need to be suspended, or both, or they need to be fired. They need to be thrown off the job. If they've broken the law, if they've committed an act so egregious that they break the law, they should be fired and held accountable in the justice system. And I would even go further. If you're a law enforcement officer and you break the law and you do it, you do this with malice, if you do it intentionally, you should be held to a higher standard in a court of law. That's how I feel about it. But the idea that once you put on a badge, you're automatically suspect. Your motivation is one that is looked at as one that you're there for power and you're there for glory. And go look at the training, 27 weeks to become a police officer. And by the way, it doesn't end there. After they get their badge at 27 weeks, they enter FTO. They go in with a field training officer. And there's an extended period of time where they are watched and trained exactly how Phoenix cops are to behave, on how they answer radio calls, how they monitor radio calls, how they perform and write reports, how they interact with the public, how they effect an arrest, how they write a speeding ticket. Everything is graded, and they've got to pass every step of the way, or they are not freestanding, work-alone cops. And that is part of the huge part of their training that is extended after the police academy. So the idea that we just hand people a badge and a gun and turn them loose on society is just a false narrative. Look into what it takes to be a cop, because it's an honorable profession. If you can pass the grade, if you can make the grade, if you can pass the exams, if you can get through the academy, being a police officer should be a position of honor, and we should respect it. And I just hope that's something we're returning to.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.